Hi there, I hope that you're doing well. I wanted to come and chat to you for a second because I'm having a bit of a weird day. I'm having one of those days where I'm just thinking about journals a lot, and I wanted to explain things to you. I haven't really worked out anything. I don't have plans on changing any notebook. I'm thinking a lot about the way that I'm using the notebooks that I currently have, and what is working and what isn't about that, and especially isn't working about this book and why it hasn't been working for a while, I feel like. So this is my journal. It's what I use as a journal for personal entries, for commonplace entries, so any kind of copied text from anywhere, like articles or posts or quotes that I find around, any kind of reflection that I do about artwork, any kind of reflection that I do for videos, for YouTube, for making products for the shop. Everything of that kind goes in here. University things as well, and I just have my tagging system. And I've been using this kind of system for about nearly a year and a half at this point, because I started towards the beginning of last year, and it's been working really well. However, I feel like for the past few months since I've added the hon into my system, things have been a bit weird in here, because a lot of what I previously used to put in here now goes in the hon, either because I put what would you call it, memory keeping type of entries, for say I go out and have dinner somewhere, I'll maybe take a picture and talk about it here, or I don't know, I just have a pretty picture to stick down. Often I'll put it in here instead of here. So it's a lot of those things have moved here, but also a lot of the time, if I'm just writing and I'm writing about my day and I've had a kind of a slow day, there hasn't been a lot going on, I'll maybe just write 10 lines about it, and then I'll write about whatever is on my mind, and that I feel is the kind of thing that before I had the hon I would maybe have expanded on in here, and I can always still do that, but I find that often just getting it out on here for a few lines is enough to get it out of my head, and put it somewhere so I know it doesn't get lost, which is good. And I really, really love the hon. I am so happy with this book. Things in here have been going really, really well. I'm so happy with it. I cannot wait to I don't know, I just feel it'll be a very satisfying book to keep and flip back through regularly. But what I was thinking about is because I've taken so much out of what used to go in here, what's now left is kind of I don't know, it's kind of crumbling apart a little bit, falling apart a bit. And I've not found myself reaching for this book very often lately, which is a shame because it's a very helpful book. It's just, I think I need to find new ways to make it more exciting. And I was flipping back through some of my old ones, and there are two in particular that I think are the ideal book, the perfect book, that feels so good to look back through. Which ones are they? Wait. Well, three, but these two mainly, I think, that are just the perfect books. I feel with these I really had a good balance of pictures, the way that I stuck them in. I feel this is a really nice spread. My handwriting was also bigger, or it was neater at least. I don't know, I feel the spreads were just really nice and really balanced. I had a lot of graphs and little drawings for things. I also used to put calendars in here. I don't really use them a lot at the moment, but just, I don't know, they're really neat spreads, and I feel I've not had any of this kind of vibe in the new one. Well, I say new one, I've been in it for 3 months, and I feel like I've been in it for 3 months and I haven't felt at home in it for 3 months. Like, I like the boxes and I like the sticker layering. I also feel like I just need to reprint some of these old stickers that I was using and I haven't reprinted. These are all my Gun Rhiannons. And then the round one is from the Van Gogh set that I have from... I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it on screen. Just like, I don't know, I feel like there were a lot of like really nice graphical elements. And also just in the way that I stuck pictures down, like this is a really nice spread as well. Everything felt very balanced. I started doing these kind of like Dutch door type things for a while. And these just have a really good energy for me. They just have a really good vibe. I want to bring some of this back. And I don't really know how to. I feel like a lot of it maybe has to do with the size that I used to print pictures at. But like things like these, I don't know, it was just really, really nice. I think I was also writing a lot more. I do think I was writing more. I was definitely writing more in here because I didn't have anywhere else to write. Now that I write in the Hon daily, I have less outside of that to write, of course. But I do feel like in general I was writing more when I was in here. And I was just, I don't know, was I printing out more things? Was I sticking in more things? I feel like I maybe was. Because like... each of these books is a month and a half. That's a lot of thoughts going on in a month and a half that I am, at the moment, not really recording in the same way. So I'm just having thoughts about that. This morning I was thinking maybe it's the size, but I don't really think that's the issue with it. I do have some A5 Moleskine notebooks that I could try out for my next commonplace book. It's these ones, but they are dot grid, which I'm not really a big fan of. I would have liked to get these in grid, but they were out, and I needed A5 books to use as my lab book. I'm having a good time using these as my lab book, but I wouldn't want the dot grid for my journals. For some reason, I don't really like that. So, I mean, I could use it to test out the size, but I don't really think the size is the problem. It's also not really that much of a difference. Maybe, like, the different ratio would be more inspiring, but I don't think that's the issue. I think, like, it's more of, like, a root cause issue type of thing that I need to find and try to solve. So, I'm just thinking about that. I'm also thinking potentially the issue might be that, like, I don't really get to print pictures throughout the week. Sometimes I print them at the print shop, but it's quite rare, and also just because I tend to wait until I have a full A4 page to print pictures. Oftentimes I just end up doing that at the weekend. And so sometimes, so in here, because they are daily, I'll just leave a square and write like what the picture is about. Like for example, for this I'd write like dinner picture or like cat or something like that to remind myself of what goes where. But I print them all the same size, and I print them all at the end of the week. But I feel like for this, and especially for like more reflection type of things, like last week I was thinking about corsets all week, and I'll mention something about that briefly, but I was thinking a lot about corsets, and I only got to print a couple of pictures over the weekend, and so I wasn't writing about that as I was thinking about it. I was kind of like writing about it in retrospect, sort of. I'm not really out of it. But, so I don't know, I feel like that's part of the issue. And I think I was thinking kind of because of that, maybe it would be worth investing in like a little mini printer. The issue is that I don't know if with a mini printer of that kind, I could maybe then print pictures that are, where is it? Like this size, because I feel like this is a really good size for this format of page. You can't, it's not in frame, there it is. I feel like most mini printers just print like this wide. And I think, I don't know, I probably just need to experiment with different picture formats and start printing things out in different formats, in different sizes. I also feel like this book hasn't been very coherent in terms of colors, whereas these were a lot more coherent in terms of colors. So, I don't know. I was a bit more experimental with these, I think, and I think maybe because I've been in these books for over a year now and I've filled like 6 or 7, I've just it's become a bit more difficult to think outside the box and make things interesting. So I don't know. I'm thinking like these spreads are cool as well. There's a lot of layering. I don't know. I'm having thoughts. I haven't really gotten anywhere with anything yet. I just wanted to put it out there and like share that what's going on. If I find a solution, if I figure out what's wrong, I'll let you know. But I don't know, I haven't found myself reaching for this very often. I do want to keep it, like I think this is a very useful book and I don't mind not filling it up as quickly as I used to, because for a while I was going through these very quickly. I was finishing one every month and a half, which is a lot of journaling, but I was also very happy with them. Like aesthetics wise, I feel like I'm not with these. Like I don't like this spread. I don't like this page. I don't like this page. I don't like this one either. These I don't mind. This is also cute. This is a bit plain. I can maybe have done with like highlighting some things, like back in these ones. I had a few things similar to that where I was highlighting things. I feel like that was quite nice. I don't know. I feel like I just need to like take some inspiration from myself and from my old books and try different layouts again, different kinds of things. So I just wanted to put that out there. That's what's going on in my head at the moment. I did mention that I was really into corsets last week. Like I was just thinking a lot about, because it's getting warmer, I was thinking about like my wardrobes and warm up my wardrobe and like what pieces I'm missing for my wardrobe, and what things I would like more of. And one of the things is definitely like corset type tops. And so this came out of that. It's not finished. I've ordered the eyelets and I've ordered the ribbon for it, and they're coming tomorrow, so technically I can finish it over the weekend. I've got to finish the bottom hem as well. I made it with a free pattern that I found. I'll leave the YouTube video linked below, and you can find the free pattern with that as well. But it's actually looking pretty good. You can't see it very well on camera, but it's looking pretty good. It fits me quite well. I've reinforced, because it's fabric that I already had. I want to order some fabric to make some like proper nice ones. This was meant to be a test, but this fabric is quite like flimsy. I think it's chiffon. So I've reinforced the ends where the eyelets are going to be with some thicker fabric. But it's pretty neat. I don't know why. I know how to sew, but I have very limited experience sewing garments. And the only other like finished garment that I've ever made is a summer dress, like a ruffled tiered summer dress with a massive bow in the back. And I'm like, why can I not just do something simple? But then it's like, that's not exciting. I love the challenge of it, and I've been having a great time putting that together. So hopefully I can finish that this weekend and I'll show you. I also printed out Megan's new spring stickers, and I feel like these have been really inspiring. I can really feel the spring coming, and I just want everything to be like a nice kind of like this green color. And I don't know. I'm gonna do some swatch cards as well, with some nice green colors, because I want to use those in paintings as well. I don't know why. Having a bit of a weird time, but all's good. I just wanted to update you on that. I also realized as I was starting to edit that I lost footage from not the video that I filmed this week that's just finished, the week before. So I'm just gonna edit last week's video instead, and we're gonna skip a week of uploads. Or like, not skip a week of uploads because I was behind, so like there's not gonna be any missing, like, there's not gonna be any week where I don't upload a video, but there's gonna be a missing week within the footage, if that makes sense, which isn't ideal, but I don't know. With hard drives and SD cards and all that, sometimes things happen. And I don't know where that footage went. I don't know if I accidentally deleted it off an SD card. Might have, oopsies, but I don't know. It is what it is. It's just, It's been an odd day. I'm going to do a little bit more journaling because I was journaling about that this morning before I had to go to lecture. So I'll write a bit more about that. I'll do a little bit of colour swatches because I want to do some painting tomorrow and Friday. And then I've got some notes to go through. I want to sort out my lab notes so I can print them tomorrow. I'm also going to go and have a picnic tomorrow with a friend. We're going to the park. We're going to get like nuts to give to the squirrels. They're very friendly at the park, so very excited to do that. That'll be like the highlight of my week, and that's it. I hope that you're having a good one. Alright, it's Friday afternoon and I have some updates, question mark. It's I have thoughts. I have thoughts that I want to share with the class because they're very raw thoughts. Nothing has been figured out. My half brain cell is very confused, but I have thoughts that I want to share. First of all, managed to get a little bit of work done on this painting yesterday. I really, really like it. I did get some weird, I don't know, like some bits dried weird on the cheek over here. So I'll try to smooth that out, and the collarbones as well next time that I work on it. And I also need to fix the hair because what is that? But I like the colors that I introduced. That's what I wanted to do. I do want to go a little more colorful on the face still. And then I think what I'm going to do is take a picture of this and do a test on the iPad to see how I want like the background to be, because I'm trying to go for the same colors as this painting, and so the one thing that is kind of missing is the dark tone, like the dark, slightly purple grey tone, and I'm thinking I might do the background with that, but I haven't tried that before on anything, on any portraits or the florals or anything like that, so I think I'm going to just do a little bit of a test. I think I did make some dark background gouache portraits back last summer or something like that, but I can't remember very clearly. I do need to take them out and see. But I just want to do a test on the iPad and see how that would turn out, if the thing will look balanced or if it's not going to work and I need to figure something else out. But I do really like it. I like how I've managed to kind of keep the softness. I don't know, I need to fix some of the purples and stuff, but it's looking a little less flat, but still quite soft, which is what I was aiming for. So happy with that. And that's one thing. Now, I have some updates on the journaling situation. As I was saying the other day, I have been thinking about this book because I think this needs like a structure reorganization type of thing because it's not working. There's not the right amount of stuff in here currently. Something that I was thinking about as well, kind of in the past couple of days, was like kind of as I was thinking about this and like the entries that I make in here and stuff, was the fact that a lot of what I write in terms of like personal entries is very important for me as I'm writing it, but I don't necessarily need to go back and reread it a lot of the time. A lot of like what I journal about in terms of paintings, like say here at some point I was working on this painting, I was working on the stickers and stuff. See, like here I was writing about the stickers and I was trying to figure things out, but a lot of that is very important in the moment, like as I'm writing about it, but it's not the kind of entry that I necessarily want to like revisit and reread and re-interact with many times. While commonplace entries, I also don't interact with a lot at the moment, but there definitely are a lot of entries, especially in these books that I've archived at the moment, in like these central ones. There's a lot of entries. I know there's a group of entries about language that I've really, really enjoyed. There's a book of entries. See, there's a quote right there. This is a collection on commonplacing. There's a lot of entries about nostalgia as well. These are more quotes. This was the collection about language. There's a collection about nostalgia at some point. And those are all things that, because they're like in between other things within the books, I know they're tagged and they're not too difficult to find, but because they're mixed up with so many things, I can't like just pick one of these up and read it as a book to like reread my commonplacing bits, which I think is something that would be really, really nice to be able to do. Because I feel like I just read these things once and I write them down once and I reread them every once in a while, but it'd be nice to reread them more consistently and like elaborate on them a bit more. So I was kind of thinking about like the fact that this needs a structure change and that thing kind of separately, but they kind of go together because it, I don't know, it makes sense. I'm also reaching the end of this book anyways, so I feel like it's a good point to kind of restructure and change things around. So what I have come to, so the conclusion that I have come to basically is that I would like to separate my commonplace book from my personal journal. I am still indecisive about whether I want to do like commonplace entries with like related comments, because I feel like that's different from personal journaling. Or if I just want to do like the actual, say it's an article or like a quote from a book, just the actual copied text from whatever the source is. But I feel like it'd be nice to have that with the comment, and then I can maybe revisit that and like add further comments as time passes by. I feel like that would be very helpful. And it would like fulfill the desire that I have to interact with the text multiple times and like really get the most out of it, because I don't feel like I do at the moment. Because I read it a couple of times and I copy it down, and then I reread it every once in a while to refresh it. But it's not something that I really like then learn and like really know at any time, if that makes sense. So I feel like that's one thing that I want to do. And then I will also try to change some things around within the way that I structure my layouts in here to make it essentially prettier, because I don't feel like this book has been very pretty lately, and that has been very discouraging I don't know, it hasn't been making me want to pick it up and use it, if that makes sense. It sounds silly, but also it kind of isn't, like it's a hobby. I'm allowed to make my books pretty. And I feel like they really were at one point, and they're not anymore. Well, talking at the plural, this one in particular is not. The Haunt definitely is. I also haven't been taking a lot of pictures, and I feel like all of the pictures I take do end up going in the Haunt, so I will try to make a little bit more of an effort to put some in here as well. But yeah, see, like this is a commonplace article on Zettelkasten for writers, and I also think I had something about zines at some point. I don't know if it's in this book or the previous one, where I copied down a really long bit about zines. But I don't know, even if it's like in my current book, I don't really go back and reread it a lot. And I'd like to have sort of like a more dedicated research book, if that makes sense. So now the question kind of was for me, one, how do I build up a more consistent personal journaling practice again? And that will be a problem for another day, sort of. Well, not necessarily like a problem for another day, it's just something that I need to like make a bit more of a conscious effort to do again, because I think once I get in the habit, I really get on a roll with it, and I haven't been lately. But it's also like I've been painting a lot, so I kind of tend to journal less because there's a limited amount of spare time that I have, and that's completely fine. So that's point one. We will come back to that later. Point two is, what book do I use as a separate commonplace book? It would be nice to have another Traveler's Notebook insert and be able to keep them to keep the two in like the same cover. However, I don't feel like this is a good format for commonplacing. It's been okay. I don't think it's a bad format, but I don't think it's what I want right now. I feel like, because like thinking about what my aim is, it would be very beneficial in this case to maybe have a margin where I can add thoughts about the text, and I can like maybe even just add a short sentence every once in a while the first time that I read it through, and then as I read through it again, in weeks or months or whatever, I can like add my thoughts on it again. That's something that I was kind of thinking about, because I don't think I mentioned it. I finished reading Good Omens. I started rereading The Secret History because it's been a while since I've done a full reread. I'm on page 102 at the moment, and I am having truly the best time. Donna Tartt's writing is always such a treat. I might also reread The Goldfinch after this, but we'll see. And I have, this book is quite heavily annotated. It's annotated in pencil and it's very light. I am struggling to read it, but it is very heavily annotated and highlighted. And it's so cool to be able to see that and to be able to read my annotations and to like go back and maybe highlight different things this time around. Or I haven't really written anything else in here yet, but maybe if I will, that'll be really interesting. So that kind of made me think about the possibility of adding a margin to, I did do it at some point. I don't think it was in this book, but I have done it before a couple of times, but it's not something that I always see like here. It's not something that I always have in my books, and I feel like if you add a margin to already such a narrow page, it just, you have no page left to write your text in. Does that make sense? So my idea is I'd like an A5 book. I'd like an A5 grid notebook. Thoughts, like immediate options in my head were MD paper A5 notebook, because I've heard really good things about the MD paper. I went to the bookshop today because I also thought about that because I know that they have some MD paper notebooks at my local bookshop. Went to the bookstore, had a look at them. What is that grid? Can we talk about it? The fact that it's light blue is not the end of the world, though I would prefer it to be like a muted light grey. Because like I'm kind of used to coloured grids now that I'm in the Hon and the colour changes every month. Though admittedly that feels more like a fun book, and so like the colours are okay. For something more research and like permanent, I would like something a bit more neutral. But also, what is that kind of grid that doesn't close at the top? Like, it feels like I'm filling out a document and I have to write each letter of my name in a single square. No, I'm not doing that. I did not like that. I don't doubt that the paper is great. I would love to try it, but not with that grid. So that's not an option anymore. Option 2 is a Hobonichi Day Free, or the Hobonichi notebook. Either would be fine. I like the fact that the Day Free already has a margin. I don't know how I feel about the quotes at the bottom. I also wouldn't necessarily need the calendar with something like that. So it feels a tiny bit like a waste of space in the Day Free, because like there will be a set of pages that I won't use. But also I do really like the fact that the margin is already present with like the secret line that they do. Similarly to the Hon, for the most part I do ignore it in the Hon, but there have been occasions in which I've used it. Let's see if I can find one. Probably not at the moment, but I have done it before. I mostly just ignore it, and I really like the fact that it's, see, like here, I did use it. And I think the Day Free is basically the same thing. I like the fact that it's light enough that you can write over it, but also it's visible enough that if you want to use it as a margin, you can. I really like that. So that's an option. However, I don't want to like straight up pay like 30 euros for that, because 30 euros isn't a lot, but for a notebook it kind of is, and I don't want to spend that money if I'm not sure that it's going to work. So I kind of want to test everything out first with things that I already have and see how I feel about things, and then decide on whether I want to buy anything. So that is still an option. The Hobonichi notebook also is an option. I really would like Tomo River paper. That would be like an added bonus, because I do really like writing on there. Now that I'm very used to it in the Hon as well, with the new paper and stuff. It's a very smooth writing experience, and I like that. Though I do worry a little bit that similarly to the Hon, it might bulk up considerably. Though, like, I don't know how much sticking in of pictures that could potentially be. I feel like a lot of the commonplacing I do is mostly just text. But as you can see, the Hon is bulking up considerably, so that is something that I want to keep in mind. However, those two are still an option. The only like downside to the notebook would be having to draw my own margins, but then like every other potential solution that I found would also have that it's not a problem, it's just, something that I would have to do. So that would be something that I need to consider with every other option as well, except for the day free. And then I was thinking about another kind of problem within it, which would be which was something that I was thinking about a couple of months ago. I was thinking about like index cards and the Zettelkasten system and like that kind of organization, and I do think doing something like that, like I dream of like boxes of index cards to rearrange around. That would be so cool. I don't have the space for that. I also don't think it would be very practical for longer entries. And like, if I'm gonna copy out a multiple page article, like I did in this case, I cannot do that on index cards. I mean, I could, but also, what am I gonna do then? Like, I don't know, clip them together or something? Also, there's the issue of portability. I would like this to be something that I can bring around with me if I want to, at least something that I can bring over to my parents for the weekend if I want to, if I think I'm gonna have some time in the weekend to reread my stuff. And I don't think this would be portable at all. I could just like, take a few cards with me, but I don't know, it feels very messy, and I don't think it's going to work. So this, I don't really think is an option. The only way that I could see it working is if I hole punch the cards, and then I could like, when I take some of the cards away with me, I could put them in a binder and take them with me. But similarly to that, I could also just use a ring binder. I know a lot of people have been starting to use ring binders lately. I personally don't think I would really enjoy that for a planner or like a personal journal, because I like things to be chronological in that sense. I also, just in terms of a planner, I really like the Hobonichi weeks. I would, like, if I were to use a ring planner as like a planner, I would just want to redraw my Hobonichi weeks layout, so there's no point in doing that. And I also just, I think the major benefit that I've seen a ring planner or like a ring binder system is to be able to move things around. And so I don't think it would really make sense for me for a planner or for a personal journal where I do want just things to be chronological. But for something creative, like something like this, as I'm doing with my art archive, I do think I did consider a ring binder as an alternative, and I do think it would be a very valid alternative. For these, I'm having a great time with index cards, but for something like a commonplace book, what I was thinking about was that the benefit of keeping things in a ring binder would be being able to group things up by topic. Because with a bound book, as much as I like prefer the aesthetics and writing experience of a bound book, I would then still have maybe like a collection on nostalgia, and then maybe an article about something else, and then maybe I don't know, like another article or another quotes, like a series of quotes from a book maybe, and then another article about nostalgia or something. So it's like, it wouldn't be grouped by topic, and I feel like for something like this, I would really like it to be grouped by topic, with kind of like the copy text and my own thoughts on it, and just have it all be together. So I'm going to do some tests. I don't want to buy anything before I know what my thoughts are on things, and I have materials to test everything that I want to test at home already. So I think now, like, my main decision just kind of has to be between a bound book or a ring planner, and if I'm going with a bound book, is it going to be the day free or the Hobonichi just plain great notebook? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just finish this notebook and then start a new Traveler's Notebook, Traveler's Notebook regular size insert as my personal journal, and that will be one thing. And then I'm going to test out my two options for the commonplace book. I have some A5 notebooks. These are dot grid, they're not actual grid. but I might have some great notebooks at home at my parents'. I do need to check, otherwise this will be fine. So this will be, like one part of the test, like the test for the bound book. And then I do also have a ring binder from Muji. I already had this. I was in Muji earlier today and I saw they had great paper that fit in the binder. This was like €3.20 or something, and I was like, I can spend €3 to test this out. And I already had everything else. So I'm gonna do a test. I'll see what I like. This is, I intend for this to be a fairly long test. It might mean that when I then make a decision, I will have to maybe like copy things over, or I don't know if I'll want to do that. If I want to do that, it might be a lot of things to copy over. I'm also curious to see how much there will be over time. So this is not like a 1 week type of experiment. I want this to be like a longer type of thing. And then when I'm sure of which of the options I prefer, I'll think of like a more permanent solution. I definitely wouldn't want such a thin book as like a permanent solution. What I like about both the notebook and the Day Free is that they're fairly thick. Like, I think the Day Free is 170 pages, and then the notebook is like 240, if I remember correctly. I looked that up yesterday. And then, so like, I wouldn't want such a thin book. This is, I think, 80 or so pages. I'm not sure. I don't know if it says somewhere, but about, 80 pages. And then in terms of like a ring binder, this is not a very sturdy one. I have had it for a while, but I barely use it. It's just been tucked in a drawer. I've been keeping pictures in here, but it's a very plain plastic binder. But it's good for testing things out, and it's precisely what I need at the moment, because I'd like to see things. I think I'll try to, I don't know, I'll update you. I'll try different things. I'll see what I prefer. I've never really loved writing on loose paper, because I do take paper out when I'm writing in a ring binder. I don't know. I want to test things out. I just feel like this would be a very flexible system and very practical. But I feel like this would potentially look better, and I just like the feeling of writing in a notebook more. So, pros and cons. I'm going to do a little bit of journaling about that. I'm going to make many a pros and cons list. I will update you on how things go. I did also talk about starting to read this. I'm having the best time. I thought I'd forgotten to mention that, but having the best time. My copy is quite worn in. I do also think it got rained on at some point. I'm still very early in. I'm like a sixth of the way through. It's just, it still feels like it's very much setting the scene, but it's just, I could sit down and read the whole entire rest of it tonight. I'm not gonna do that because I've got things to do. I've got uni things to do now, and I'm gonna have an early dinner, and then I'm gonna go out because a friend's playing a gig tonight. So that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be an early night in bed reading type of night. But it might be tomorrow. So that'll be nice. I love this so much. But yeah, that's a nice, very long Friday afternoon updates for you. My camera is saying nearly 27 minutes. I am sorry about that. This will be a long video. I hope you're having a nice week. I'll see you soon. Bye.
verità è che sono tratto da te, che mi sgridi sempre con le scarpe per quello che ho fatto, per quel che farò. Ero da te il fine settimana per ricordarmi chi sono, e farò nel vuoto con la chitarra, suono così mi consolo. settimana per ricordarmi chi sono. Mi fragole vuoto con la